Hello there, commanders, and welcome back to Total War Arena National Cup. Second battle of the first round, second match between Russia and Spain. Russia, again, the blue team, as the replay comes from them. Spanish, a red team, and now we are on Oasis. Let's turn off the fog of war and let's see what we are up to. So the Russian team now has opted to bring some cavalry and elephants, so no longer a very heavy infantry build. They keep the repeating crossbows. The Spanish team has now decided to bring repeating crossbows of their own and 2 players of cavalry, but no elephants this time around. So we already have an engagement here on the right flank. Some pilas have been thrown from the Russian teams into the dogs. And the Spanish team, I mean, both teams really look to quite heavily commit to the Oasis side. The battle is going to take place closer to the D point rather than to the A point, which gives an advantage to the Spanish team. For a nice volley of repeating crossbows into some infantry. And a lot of Spanish cavalry is already making their way. Oh, nice dodge. Charge through cultures, but that is Wrath of Mars. But no, that wasn't Wrath of Mars. It was Rage. Both very angry abilities. But either way, it wasn't angry enough. But yeah, just look at that. 16 of cavalry. That is proper investment. They really want to shut down those repeating crossbows. And the melee engagement here, it looks like it is going to go the way of the Spanish team, as they do have a numbers advantage and a very nice support of those repeating crossbows, just obliterating a spear block of the Russian team. But on the other flank, E is already being contested, and the Russian team has advantage there, as the Spanish team decided to commit a lot of forces to the right flank. So only 3 units of the Spanish team against 6 of the Russians. Another elephant coming from their side. C completely uncontested, just 1 elephant on top of there. It is going to be unlocked in 1 minute, so the Spanish team needs to send something in there. At the very least 1 unit of cavalry. They do have 6, so they can spare at least 1 of them to contest C and prevent the elephant from taking it for free. But that being said, A is already being captured. E is still contested. Those glaives are not dying. It is Guan Yu, so he has access to God of War, which means it's not easy to rout them, but there's only 1 left. The Russian team has managed to get their cavalry on top of A to contest it, but that cavalry obviously is not going to last for long. The spears that were trying to make their way over there were obliterated by the repeating crossbows, but another unit of swords have made it as well. E is now being captured. All the units from the Spanish team have died there. Well, E hasn't been captured yet, but it is now being captured. Sending already units away towards C. They really want to do that. They know that they will get E sooner or later, so there's no need to really capture it as quickly as possible. Let's see if the Spanish team can respond in kind by capturing A. A is still being contested, so reinforcements being denied by cavalry, but that cavalry will die, but it is a worthy sacrifice. They really need to kill this 1 particular unit. They need to focus everything on here, because that single unit is preventing the Spanish team from getting A, and they're not really doing a good job at it. It is an oathed Scipio infantry. Obviously it's Scipio since it's oathed. Ooh, a little bit of disconnection here on the Spanish side, but it is now all good. Another unit of swords, but routed. They've made their way onto A. There we go, both units now routed. One of them obliterated by the repeating crosses, but the Spanish team has lost the ability to deny the healing from the Russian team. And just look at the amount of units pouring out of there. They haven't flipped A, they haven't routed the units quickly enough, and now they're paying the price. Huge misplay by the Spanish team, and that is going to cost them a lot. C also just given away for free. E captured, and it doesn't look like they are going to contest at all. Spanish team is quite in a bad position. Let's see if they can try to do anything. They're sending 1 player towards C, but there are 4 units in the area from the Russian team, 2 more here on E. Spanish team is healing up some cavalry and spears in their base as they recalled after the failed attempt at capturing A. All recalling back to the base. The dogs have been prevented from doing so, recalling in the range of enemy ranged units. A very good idea. Ooh, and a very beautiful challenge into the rear of those repeating crossbows, obliterating all 3 units. The swords from the Spanish team are trying to sort of punish that cavalry, but it's not going to happen. They're out of position completely, and the Russian team is now launching a powerful attack towards D. And if the Spanish team can get the reinforcements here in time, that is not going to look well for them, as they are already down to just 1 point that is being contested. 0 points gained per second for them, just stopped at 359, while the Russian team is already very quickly approaching 1000. Let's see, all those units that have healed up on the base are now heading towards D. They're trying to hold that. They're not really looking to contest C. Well, the glaives are sort of in that area, but C is not contested. Cavalry can make their way on there. They may look, yeah, they're going to contest C. They changed their mind. Okay, we'll see what develops in there. They're sending the cavalry just to contest A. That is a very good idea. That will deny the point gain. Will drop the Russian team from 6 points per second to just 4.5. If I remember correctly, and let's see if they can do the same with C. They just need to start contesting points, stop the point B. There we go. They're contesting A, 4.5 points per second for the Russian team. But just look at the amount of Russian units here on top of D, very quickly obliterating anything that is left there by the Spanish team. Spears trying to make their way. The Russian team sees them coming, but it's not really moving against them. A little bit too late on the reaction. So the Spanish spears have managed to make their way, but it is still a blobbed phalanx here that will be pulling through them. And just look at how quickly they are getting obliterated. And those dogs, well, they can make their way, but even if they do, they're just going to be obliterated with all of that infantry. Cavalry is also making their way, finding a little bit of a gap, almost, into the repeating crossbows, but it's not going to matter. What matters is contesting and capturing points, which the Spanish team is not doing a very good job at. And just look, D is now being captured. It has been flipping back and forth between capturing and not capturing, but the Spanish team is unable to contest. Now the cavalry is trying to make their way over there, but it is going to be routed, so that is not going to count towards contesting. D flipped, no healing for the Spanish team, and now the only healing zone they have available is all the way back in their base, with really no possibility of any counterattack. The Russian team is just heavily outplaying the Spanish team, as the Spanish team quite heavily committed to non-infantry. They have 6 units of cavalry, 3 units of dogs, 3 units of repeating crossbows, and just that not enough. That's just not enough infantry to contest the points, just further driving in the point that, yeah, you can deny the repeating crossbows of the enemy team with your 6 units of cavalry, but so what? You just don't have the infantry to do what really gives you the victory, which is the infantry. Well, that is still being contested, so it is not captured by the Russian team, but it is honestly just a matter of time, just a formality. So as they see a lot of Russian concentration here of forces, they are trying to send their units towards E. They're already sending 3 units of cavalry, one of them to deny the healing zone, the other 2 to start contesting the point, but it would be a contest against spears, and they just decided against it. Maybe they thought E was free and unprotected, but that is not the case. The Russian team is holding all the points now. D has been captured, 9.5 points per second for the Russian team, with 2,000 points already secured. Spanish team still at 359. It's not looking good for them at all. Let's see what they'll try to do. Sending swords around, trying to deny the healing with the swords. 2 units committed in there, even though there's nothing in there. Well, they do not know that, but I think they can safely assume. The Russian forces from C are not really looking to pursue, at least not the pikes, but the swords are going to pursue them. That is interesting, but as just one player of swords, 1 unit of cavalry, 1 unit of dogs being sent, another unit of dogs, still healing up. Some units are being sent towards D. Cavalry is roaming around C. Well, they're contesting C, so there's that. It lowers the point gain to 7.6 per second for the Russian team, but that is not really going to save it. You need to try to get a point, 2 points, and capture the base. If you're down so heavily in a match, really the only way you can win is by capturing the base, and the only way you do that is putting all of your units on one flank, but Russian team is also not looking to really let that slide, as they are heavily in advantage, in positional advantage. They're much closer to the Spanish base than the Spanish are to their base, and they're just going to capture that. And as we know, the mechanics in this new game mode are dependent on the numbers of units inside the base, not rather than just touching and decapping the units that are inside the base. So yeah, the Spanish team just needs to match the amount of units that the Russian team is pouring inside their base, and that means they won't be able to commit that heavily to the capture of E and then B and then base. Also, the Russian team, well, they are now getting only 3.8 points per second, so not that much, but they're also not that far away. They have only 500 points left to go. E is going to be recaptured by the Spanish team now any second, as they are about to rout, but it's still Leonidas. He has fought the line, so well, there we go. Now he's going to get routed, just barely. There we go. Yeah, takes a while. It takes a while. So healing zone is skillful denied. It is going to be recaptured, but there are already 9 Russian units inside the enemy base. The Spanish base held by only 1 unit that now has been routed. The healing zone is also denied, spawning as well. So now it is essentially a race between a Russian team winning by the base capture or winning by points, and it looks like it will be the base capture that brings in the victory in the end. Spanish team may have recaptured E, but that is definitely too little, too late. 14 units at the very end of the Russian team inside the Spanish base, and that is giving 2-0 victory over to Russia. So they're joining China on the first place in the table. Spain is joining the French team on the last place in the table, and the next match is going to be between Ukraine and Poland. We can call it a match of the round, let's say. So we are keeping the best for last. At least I assume so. I think those two teams should be the closest in terms of skill to each other, while China and Russia battles were quite one-sided, as you could see. So get hyped up for the Ukraine versus Poland coming to you next week, and until then, I'll see you on Arena's Battlefields, Commanders.